What happens if you pour urine into your peace lily pot? It sounds like a gardening myth or perhaps a desperate measure, but the biological reaction that occurs in the soil is both fascinating and potentially dangerous. You might be hoping for a lush explosion of green growth, or you might be terrified of burning your beloved plant to a crisp within hours. The truth lies somewhere in between, and understanding exactly how this liquid gold interacts with your peace lily's delicate root system could change the way you fertilize forever. Stay with me, because we are going to separate the internet rumors from horticultural science, and by the end of this video, you will know precisely whether this unconventional fertilizer is a miracle worker or a death sentence for your indoor jungle. Before we dive into the chemistry and the cautionary tales, I want to invite you to join our growing community of practical gardeners. If you appreciate honest, science-backed advice that cuts through the noise and helps your plants thrive without expensive gadgets or harmful chemicals, please hit that subscribe button right now. We release new videos every week dedicated to helping you grow smarter, not harder, and I would love to have you along for the journey as we explore more unconventional gardening truths together. To understand what happens when urine meets potting soil, we first have to look at what is actually inside this liquid. Human urine is often misunderstood as merely waste, but biologically speaking, it is a sterile, nutrient-dense solution composed primarily of water, urea, creatinine, and dissolved minerals. The most critical component for your peace lily is urea, which makes up nearly half of the solid content in fresh urine. Urea is an organic compound with the chemical formula CONH2, and it serves as a high-density carrier of nitrogen. When urea enters the soil, it does not remain stable. Soil bacteria containing the enzyme urease rapidly hydrolyze it into ammonia and carbon dioxide. This ammonia then undergoes nitrification, converting first into nitrite and then into nitrate, which is the form of nitrogen your plant can actually absorb through its roots. This conversion process is rapid and exothermic, meaning it releases heat and temporarily spikes the pH level of the surrounding soil before eventually acidifying it as nitrates accumulate. Beyond nitrogen, urine contains significant amounts of potassium and phosphorus, completing the primary NPK triad essential for plant life. The potassium exists mostly as free ions, making it immediately available for uptake, while phosphorus is present in smaller quantities as phosphate salts. However, urine also contains sodium chloride, or common salt, which is where the complexity begins. While plants need trace amounts of sodium, the concentration in human urine can be surprisingly high, depending on diet and hydration levels. Additionally, urine contains uric acid, sulfates, calcium, magnesium, and various micronutrients like zinc and copper. It is important to note that fresh urine is typically slightly acidic to neutral, ranging from a pH of 6.0 to 7.5. But as it ages and urea breaks down into ammonia, the pH can skyrocket to 9.0 or higher before settling back down. This chemical volatility is the defining characteristic of urine as a fertilizer. It is not a static product like commercial plant food. It is a dynamic, living chemical reaction waiting to happen. Understanding this composition is vital because every single one of these elements will interact directly with the specific biology of your peace lily. And unlike synthetic fertilizers that are buffered for safety, urine delivers its payload with raw, unbuffered intensity. Now that we understand the volatile chemistry of urine, we must examine the specific nutritional architecture of the peace lily, scientifically known as spathiphyllum. Peace lilies are tropical understory plants native to the rainforests of Central and South America, and their evolutionary history dictates their nutrient requirements. They are adapted to environments where nutrients arrive in slow, steady trickles from decomposing leaf litter rather than sudden, concentrated dumps. Their primary need is consistent, moderate nitrogen to support their large, broad leaves and continuous vegetative growth. Nitrogen drives chlorophyll production and protein synthesis, which is why a nitrogen deficiency results in the pale, yellowing foliage that plagues so many peace lily owners. In this regard, the urea-derived nitrate in diluted urine aligns perfectly with the plant's demand for accessible nitrogen. However, peace lilies have a unique sensitivity that distinguishes them from hardier outdoor crops. They possess fleshy, semi-succulent roots that are highly susceptible to osmotic stress. This means they require a soil environment with low salinity and stable moisture levels. While they benefit from the potassium in urine, which regulates stomatal opening and water retention, their tolerance for the accompanying sodium is remarkably low. Excess sodium competes with potassium uptake and disrupts the plant's internal water balance, leading to tip burn and necrotic spotting. Furthermore, peace lilies prefer a slightly acidic soil pH between 5.8 and 6.5. As we established earlier, the nitrification process of urine can cause temporary alkaline spikes followed by long-term acidification. If the soil buffer capacity is exceeded, the pH can swing outside the peace lily's comfort zone, locking out essential micronutrients like iron and manganese. The connection here is nuanced. Urine provides the exact macronutrients your peace lily craves: nitrogen for foliage, potassium for turgor pressure, and phosphorus for root and flower development, but it delivers them alongside compounds that the plant has no evolutionary defense against. The peace lily needs consistency, and urine offers potency. The plant needs low salinity, and urine brings salt. The plant needs stable pH, and urine brings fluctuation. Therefore, using urine on a peace lily is not about whether the nutrients are beneficial. They absolutely are, but whether you can modulate the delivery system to match the plant's delicate physiology. When the high nitrogen content of urine meets the high nitrogen demand of the peace lily, the potential for explosive growth is real, but only if the salt and pH variables are meticulously managed. This biological mismatch between the fertilizer's intensity and the plant's sensitivity is exactly why this practice requires such careful consideration and precise execution. Let us now weigh the genuine benefits against the very real risks, because this is where theory meets reality in your living room. When applied correctly at proper dilution rates, urine can be a superior fertilizer for peace lilies compared to many synthetic options. The nitrogen in urine is organically derived and released gradually through microbial activity, which mimics the natural forest floor decomposition cycle better than instant-release chemical salts. Plants fed properly diluted urine often exhibit deeper green pigmentation, thicker leaf cuticles, and more frequent spadix production because they are receiving a full spectrum of micronutrients that commercial fertilizers often lack. The presence of natural growth hormones and beneficial microbes in fresh urine can also stimulate root branching and improve overall plant resilience. For gardeners seeking sustainability, it closes the nutrient loop and eliminates plastic packaging waste entirely. But here is the warning that must never be ignored. Undiluted or improperly timed urine application will destroy your peace lily faster than almost any other mistake you can make. The salt accumulation issue is cumulative and invisible until it is too late. Even if you dilute correctly once, repeated applications without flushing the soil will lead to toxic sodium buildup that burns root tips and prevents water uptake. The ammonia spike during urea breakdown can literally cook tender feeder roots in confined pot environments where there is insufficient soil volume to buffer the reaction. I have seen healthy, mature peace lilies collapse within 48 hours of receiving straight urine, their leaves turning black and mushy as cellular structure disintegrated from osmotic shock. There is no recovery from severe saltburn. The damage is permanent. Additionally, if the urine comes from someone taking certain medications or antibiotics, pharmaceutical residues can harm soil microbiology or accumulate in plant tissues. The margin for error with peace lilies is razor thin. You are trading convenience for precision, and if your discipline wavers even once, the consequences are fatal. Respect the potency of this fertilizer or stick to conventional products. The benefits are magnificent, but the price of negligence is absolute loss. If you have weighed the risks and decided to proceed, here is the exact step-by-step method to apply urine safely to your peace lily. First, collect fresh midstream urine, as the first void of the day is too concentrated, and later voids may contain bladder sediment. Freshness matters because aged urine has already begun the ammonia conversion that raises pH dangerously. Second, prepare your dilution vessel. For peace lilies specifically, you must use a minimum ratio of 1 part urine to 20 parts water. This is non-negotiable. Most outdoor recommendations suggest 1 to 10, but peace lilies cannot handle that strength. Measure precisely using graduated containers, not estimates. Third, add the urine to the water, never water to urine, to ensure immediate mixing and prevent localized concentration hotspots. Fourth, check the pH of your diluted mixture if possible. It should read between 6.0 and 7.0. If it reads higher, add a few drops of white vinegar or citric acid to bring it down before applying. Fifth, water your peace lily with plain water first to moisten the soil and create a buffer zone for the roots. Never apply fertilizer solution to bone-dry soil. Sixth, pour the diluted mixture slowly around the perimeter of the pot, avoiding direct contact with the crown or base of the stems. Apply approximately 1/3 of the pot's volume in fertilizer solution, then follow with plain water to fill the remaining capacity and push nutrients evenly through the root zone. 7th, allow the pot to drain completely. Standing fertilizer solution is a recipe for root rot and salt accumulation. 8th, keep detailed records of each application date and dilution ratio. Memory is unreliable, and tracking prevents accidental overapplication. Finally, after every third urine feeding, perform a thorough flush with plain water equal to twice the pot volume to leach accumulated salts. This flushing step is as important as the fertilizing itself. Treat this protocol with the same rigor you would apply to laboratory work, and your peace lily will reward you. Deviate from these steps, and you invite disaster. Timing is everything when using urine on peace lilies, and getting this wrong negates all your careful dilution efforts. Never apply urine fertilizer during winter dormancy or low-light periods when the plant's metabolic rate has slowed. During these times, nutrient uptake decreases dramatically, and unused salts accumulate toxically in the soil. Avoid application when indoor temperatures exceed 85 degrees Fahrenheit or drop below 60 degrees, as thermal stress compounds chemical stress. Do not fertilize a recently repotted peace lily for at least 6 weeks, as damaged roots are hypersensitive to salinity. Never apply to a plant showing signs of existing stress, pest infestation, or disease. Fix the underlying problem first before introducing any fertilizer. Avoid application immediately after heavy watering when soil is already saturated, as this reduces oxygen availability and slows the nitrification process needed to convert urea safely. The ideal time to apply is during active spring and summer growth, when new leaves are visibly unfurling and light levels are bright but indirect. Morning application is preferable to evening, allowing excess surface moisture to evaporate and giving the plant a full day of photosynthesis to utilize incoming nutrients. Apply only when the top inch of soil feels dry to the touch, indicating the plant is ready to drink and transport nutrients upward. Reapply no more frequently than once every 3 to 4 weeks during peak growing season. This extended interval accounts for the residual nutrient release from previous applications and allows time for salt leaching between doses. During late summer and early autumn, reduce frequency to once every 6 weeks as growth naturally slows. Cease application entirely from late autumn through early spring. Remember that peace lilies are slow growers by nature. Patience between applications yields better results than aggressive scheduling. Your calendar should follow the plant's rhythm, not yours. Over-fertilizing is far more dangerous than under-fertilizing, and with urine, less truly is more. When applied correctly on schedule, here is the realistic timeline for visible results. Within the first 7 to 10 days after application, you likely will not see dramatic changes above ground. Below the surface, however, root hairs are actively absorbing nitrates and transporting them to meristematic tissue. Around day 14 to 21, emerging leaf buds at the crown will begin swelling noticeably faster than before. By day 30 to 45, new leaves will unfurl with visibly deeper green saturation and increased thickness compared to older foliage. Existing yellowing leaves will not recover, but new growth will demonstrate improved chlorophyll density. Between days 60 and 90, you may observe the formation of new spadix flowers if light conditions are adequate, as the balanced nutrition supports reproductive energy allocation. Soil structure may also improve as microbial populations respond to organic inputs, creating better aeration and moisture retention over successive months. Do not expect overnight transformations or miraculous rescues of dying plants. Urine fertilizer enhances healthy growth. It does not reverse neglect. The improvements are subtle and cumulative, building over seasons rather than days. Compare new growth against old growth photographs taken before starting the regimen to track progress objectively. If after 60 days you see no improvement or notice negative symptoms like browning tips or stunted emergence, stop immediately and reassess your dilution ratio, flushing frequency, or environmental conditions. Every plant responds individually based on its unique history and microenvironment. Trust the process, but verify the results with patient observation. Sustainable gardening rewards consistency over intensity, and your peace lily's gradual transformation will reflect the care and precision you invested in getting the details right. You now possess the complete knowledge to make an informed decision about using urine on your peace lily. This is not magic, and it is not without risk, but for the attentive gardener who respects both the chemistry and the plant's biology, it can be a powerful tool for sustainable, vibrant growth. Your peace lily deserves thoughtful care, and sometimes that means embracing unconventional methods with disciplined execution. If this deep dive helped you understand the why behind the how, please subscribe and share this video with fellow plant lovers who deserve accurate information over internet myths. Drop a comment below sharing your experiences or questions. I read every single one and learn from this community daily. Keep growing with curiosity, confidence, and care. And I will see you in the next video where we continue uncovering the practical truths that help your garden flourish. Thank you for watching and happy growing.